So a lot of bass players think they know the major scale, the mother of all harmony, up until the point when it's time to play it. I've seen people just recently, hey, let me see what you play your major scale. And, when you know something, you don't have to go through mental gymnastics to recall it, okay? And I'm talking about when the keyboard player is calling out scale degrees and chord numbers and that wind up looking like gang signs, or when you have to read a chart at church and things like that. You know what I'm talking about. So what you need is a system. I'm going to show you a system. We're going to talk about it. We're going to open this understanding right now, today, once and for all. You're going to have to do some work, but I got you. Let's go. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Ted and I talk bass. I help bass players just like yourself enjoy playing the bass again or for the first time. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Let's go on and get started. So first, let me tell you about this framework. The framework is play, hear, see, explain. 1, can you play it? Goes without saying. 2, can you hear it? Can you hear when you played a note out of context or a wrong note? Can you see it in your mind's eye even when the bass is not anywhere near you? Can you see what patterns you want to play even in your mind's eye? And the last thing is, can you explain it on some level to someone else, even yourself, right? Play, hear, see, explain. That's the framework. That's what we're going to use for everything. Now check this out. This video is going to be jam-packed. So if you don't have time to watch the whole thing all the way through, that's cool. Pause it and come back. Or use the timestamps below this video. If you saw a lesson that I posted not too long ago where I had you write stuff down, you already know what the musical alphabet is. You know the pattern of intervals that we need to create a major scale. The major scale is the mother of all harmony. Everything can be traced back to the major scale. You gotta know it, right? If you don't know nothing else, well, you need to start there, right? You have to know that. So you know those things. Let's go on and get started. All right, now remember, we're gonna use this framework for everything right now. We're gonna play C majors, but you're gonna know how to move this around. All right, you got to take the principles and move them around. First thing we're gonna do is put our second finger on the note C. Right now, I know that some of you have done this before. We're gonna do it again because the first thing I'm gonna ask you is to use this framework. It's only one note. Can you play it? Are you playing a clean note, a deliberate note right behind that fret? That's the first thing. Now we're going to play a whole step away from that note, which happens to be the note D, but it is a whole step. So we went from C to D. Can you play the interval of a whole step with intention? Can you do that? Can you hear that you have played a whole step? Okay. Here's the thing. That whole step is also called a major second, right? Now we're going to go to the next note in the scale. We're going to play E. Now I want to stop right there and explain something kind of cool, kind of important. You need to know it. That thing is from C to D, that shape is a whole step. Now, guess what? From D to E is also a whole step. So we just played whole step intervals, but in two different ways. There's a whole step. There's also a whole step. So can you see where the see it part comes? Can you? Those three, we covered the playing part. We covered the explaining part because I explained to you root, and we're going to call this root home. That's going to be our house. I want you to remember that analogy. That's going to be home. Super important. It's also known as one, right? Then we go to the next note away. Then we go to the next note, which is a whole step away from the note we just played. Now check this out. From this note, home, and we go to that note is a major third. Let's put it like this. This major scale is going to be our neighborhood. So this is home. And then we go to our neighbor's house. Now we skipped a house. We skipped a house here and we went to this house. And now we're going to travel to our other neighbor's house that's here, right? That house is 3 houses away from our house. Now we're going to go to the next house. And that is the 4th house away from our house, or also known as the 4th scale degree. Now, check this out. We have played a root. We've played a major second or a whole step interval away from that root. We went up another whole step and played a major third away from that root. And now this is the first time in the scale that we're seeing the half step interval. So that half step, we're playing with our first finger and our second finger. Now we got a neighbor that's right here, but we're not going to his house. That's like the weird neighbor. You know what I mean? We just not fooling with him right now. We don't know what to do, what's going on in there. We're not going to worry about that neighbor just yet. So we're going to go to the neighbor 5 houses away from ours. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you play it? Can you hear it? Can you see it? Can you explain it? So from this note to this note, we played another whole step. So now we have played a whole step here, a whole step here, and a whole step there. We played 3 whole steps in 2 different ways, right? What's important is the interval. We understand what the interval of a whole step is. So now, from there, we're going to go to our other neighbor. That's 6 houses away. There's a whole step interval again. Now, this neighbor, we ain't figured him out just yet, but he's cool with the guy that lives in house number 5. So we're going to rock with him and we'll just play that note, that house. We'll go to that house that's 7 houses down the street from our house. And then, you know what? Let's go on back home. But when we get home, we're going to go to the 2nd floor. All right? Let's play that whole scale. You don't have to play it with me. I just want you to visualize this for me real quick, or visualize it with me. Home. There's our neighbor. There's another neighbor. There's another cool neighbor who's 4 houses away from us. We skipped that neighbor and we went to this neighbor. He's cool. Another neighbor, 6. Another neighbor, 7 houses away. Then we're back home on the 2nd floor. Now, of course, we can come back down. You know that already. Okay? So what you want to do is be able, you got to know, when it sounds good and when it doesn't sound good. We got to think about this like riding a bike. Stick with me here. Most of us know how to ride a bicycle. And you know, somebody probably, we might have had some training wheels on and somebody pushed us and we, and there's, I don't even know how I would explain to somebody to ride a bike. See, here's the thing. I don't think I can really teach you anything. I can show you things and then I can show you how to teach yourself. The same way that you taught yourself ultimately how to ride a bike. And every now and again, you had to like ride, fall down, get up, fall down again, scrape your knees. And somewhere you took the things that you were told and then you had to start putting switches together in your own brain and say, oh, if I do this, if I do that. Another analogy that I would have is watching little kids learn how to walk for the first time. They get up, they fall down. They get up, they fall down. They get up, they fall down. And then mommy says, oh, do this or do that. Man, that's not really, that's guiding them. But that's not the thing that's really clicking. Somewhere along the line in that kid's brain, he says, oh, you know what? If I put my hand on the coffee table, I'm going to be able to stand up for a little while. Then when they get past that point and they build the muscle to start getting up and getting to the coffee table, then they're like, oh, if I scurry real fast, I can get from this thing to that thing. And that becomes refined over time with practice, right? It's the same thing we're doing here. So you know, if you follow that framework, you know. So now you see the pattern. That's one pattern, okay? I use that pattern. Let's go to the key of G real quick. And this is the pattern that I would use if I'm playing a song like Brown Eyed Girl. I skipped the line on purpose. Or if I'm playing something like Easy. That second finger is just guiding, saying, this is my neighborhood. This is my house. That's all my neighbors in my neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? So that's the second finger shape. Now, here's a shape that is another very common shape, and I will use this one as well. I'm first going to show you with this sort of textbook fingering, and then I'm going to encourage you to do some other things. So now if I put my first finger on C, that's still the root. That's still the that's still the house, my home. The C major scale is still the neighborhood, right? So I'm going to go 1, using my second finger on D, which is what? A whole step away. The fact that I use 2 different fingers doesn't mean that I didn't play a whole step interval. I still played a whole step interval. So from C, D to E, there's a root, a home, whole step, our neighbor. There's our major third. There's our perfect fourth. There's our perfect fifth. Major sixth, major seventh, and then our octave. In that playing it, can you play it thing, if you're kind of getting bum notes, watch this. I've seen this before where people will try to hold on. When you got this big stretch, look at when I'm playing that. Look at my hand. I'm moving, man. I'm shifting. And my hand has to move as one whole unit. Let me see if I could do it like this. So I'm playing this. Like that. My whole hand is moving. This thumb is not going to be clamped down to anything. It's not going to do that. So see that? Now, I want to encourage you to do something. I want you to think about, you know what? I'm going to save that to the end. So you have to keep watching. So there's another fingering for that major scale. Okay? Now check this out. What about if I took just one finger and I just explored a little bit? So here's the thing about YouTube and private lessons, anything. I crack the door open for you, or another teacher, another creator cracks the door open for you. You still got to walk in the door, right? We're opening the door to a large room with no light. That's a Prince reference. If you got it, tell me you got it in the chat. So, or in the comments. So, what about if I took this? Can I see the scale all on one string? Can I see it on one string? Now we're getting not only the intervals, it's intellectual thing about the intervals, but we have the shape of the sound. So can we hear it? If I played, did I play a major scale? No. I got to be able to hear that, right? Did I play a major scale? No, of course not. Want to be able to hear it and see it. Okay? Now, beautiful thing about the bass is all those things are movable. Let's say you go to the key of F. Look at that. Oh my goodness. It's something that we've played before. Something we've played before. What about this? Now, why would it be important to be able to see that scale going this way on one string? Well, meet me at the Groove School where we start talking about triads and creating triads, building triads, and seeing them in real life, in the wild, if you will, and how they come together. And you'll see why the fingering of that one do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is only one step, right? What about if I played that scale on two strings? What about if I played it on... Did I play a major scale there? No, I didn't. Just played a 2-octave F major scale. But you got to be curious, right? Don't not be curious. Please be curious. You have to be curious. All right. Let's talk about something here real quick. Now, when we started off playing the C major scale, and this is where this curiosity comes in. When I played the scale right there, well, I still have another string. I still got the E string, so I can't just play the scale here and then be satisfied with that, because there are notes below this root, right? And this is one of the things that is going to separate you from, super beginners to getting to that next rung on the ladder, right? I mean, it's not a competition, but I hope you see what I'm saying. So this is where our curiosity comes in. Okay, I got that. Now let's go back down. But I still have notes that are below the root. Now, when I say below, I'm talking about pitch. If I'm talking about above or below, I'm talking about pitch, not physical location. So if this is C, there's 7, there's 6, 5, 4, and 3. So we want to be curious. What other notes exist? And that's when you start getting into those modes and different mode positions. Those patterns will sneak up on you and you'll be like, oh man, I've seen that before. I've already seen that, right? Let's say we start the C major scale here. Well, I still have another string, right? That's the curiosity part. Now, I want to review, before we wrap this part of this exploration up, I told you it was going to be a lengthy one. I told you it was going to be jam-packed. There's a lot of stuff in here, okay? You want to get these scales, this idea, you want to move it around. Not to play it fast, but to really understand it. So when you hear 1654 or 1645 or 145, you can already see that in your mind's eye. You're not even thinking about that when it comes time to play, which is the ultimate goal, right? That's why we're doing this. So I'm going to take this to the key of A. I know that shape. And I'm going to just go out on a limb, and somebody could be mad at me if, or disagree with me if they like. But knowing the shape is almost more important than knowing those note names. I'm going to stand by that. Okay. So A is going to be home. That's our house. We leave our house and we go to our neighbor's house. That's our neighbor that is a whole step away. Then we go to our other neighbor that's 3 houses up, and he's a major third away from our house. We go to our other neighbor who is 4 houses away from ours. Go to 5. He's 5 houses down. Howdy, neighbor. Then we go to the 6th house. Then we go to the 7th house. Now we know there'll be some weird stuff going on in that house, sort of like Anthony Perkins in Psycho, but we're going to let him slide because he's tight with 5. If you need to know, if you really want to know what I'm talking about there, you're going to have to come over to the Groove School so I can break that down for you. And then we go home to the second floor. But now check this out. If we are doing what I just said, those notes are still in the scale. So we home on the second floor. We come out. We go back to our neighbor's house. Oh, look at this. All of a sudden I know, wow, this shape, not the most practical way to play an octave, but it certainly is one. Look at that, right? This guy is the same as that guy. And then we've got our neighbor that's 4 notes away from us. So, does that make sense? You dig? Let me know in the comments if that has helped you. So let me ask you, how many ways can you play the major scale? Can you play, hear, see, and explain those positions? Listen, if you can only do that with a couple positions, that's cool. That will take you a long way, but you still got to be curious. If you want to go deeper down that rabbit hole, if you want to really enjoy the electric bass guitar again or for the first time, meet me over at Groove School. You can get a 7-day free trial, exclusive content over there. I will see you here in the next one. As always, peace. 2 fingers.